You probably know the US beauty industry is huge, a real economic powerhouse. But what you might not know is that, according to a new report from Tran University, there's this hidden web of rules that might be slowing it all down. So let's dive in and unpack what they discovered.
Okay, first off, let's just get a sense of the scale we're talking about here. This is not a small industry. We're looking at over $308 billion. That's its contribution to the US GDP. I mean, that's just a massive number, and it really shows you how critical this industry is for the entire country's economy.
And yet, it's not just about lipstick and shampoo. We're talking about jobs, a lot of jobs. This industry supports 4.6 million of them, all across the country. Think about that. It's a true powerhouse for employment, a real pillar of our workforce.
Now, here's something really fascinating. Look at who makes up this workforce. It's overwhelmingly women, a full 80%. That's huge. This industry is an absolute engine for female employment and for women starting their own businesses, way more than you see in other parts of the economy.
So, you have this incredible engine of opportunity, right? But what if that engine is being throttled? What if there's this maze of invisible rules that are actually getting in the way? That's really the big question we're tackling here.
All right, let's step into what the report calls the state licensing maze. See, to be a cosmetologist in the US, you've got to have a license. Simple enough, right? Well, not so fast. The way you get that license is this crazy, chaotic patchwork of rules that is completely different depending on what state you're in.
So, why? Why have these laws in the first place? Well, academics are kind of split on this. There are two big theories. One is the public interest theory. This says, hey, it's about keeping people safe. It's quality control. But then there's the barrier to entry theory, which is a lot more cynical. It suggests this is all about limiting competition to help out the people who already have their licenses.
And if you want a perfect example of how wild this gets, look at this. In New York, you need 1,000 hours of training to get your license. Okay, but just head over to Nebraska and suddenly you need 2,100 hours. That's more than double. It really makes you wonder, right? Is a haircut in Nebraska really twice as dangerous as one in New York?
And no, this isn't just New York and Nebraska being weird. It's everywhere. Just look at this. California's at 1,000, Florida's at 1,200, you get up to Idaho at 2,000. The point is, there's no consistency at all. It's a nationwide mess that just creates a ton of confusion and, as we'll see, a lot of cost.
Okay, so this patchwork of rules is confusing, we get that. But what's the real cost? What does this actually mean for people trying to make a living and for the economy as a whole?
Okay, get ready for this because this comparison is, well, it's pretty mind-blowing. On one hand, you have an emergency medical technician, an EMT, someone who literally saves lives. They need about 150 hours of training. On the other hand, a cosmetologist in Iowa needs 2,100 hours, 2,100. The difference is staggering, and you have to ask, are all those extra hours really about public safety?
So what's the result of all this extra time spent in school? Well, research from the National Bureau of Economic Research is crystal clear on this one. The more hours required, the more student debt people take on. I mean, it makes sense, right? You're paying for tuition for all that time before you can even start earning money.
But here's the real kicker. That same research shows that all that extra time, all that extra debt, it doesn't lead to higher pay after graduation at all. So you've got a system that piles on the cost for people just starting out, but offers no extra reward on the other side. It's a tough deal.
And it's not just the training hours. There's this other hidden cost they call administrative drag. Basically, it's all the money lost because of slow, inefficient, old-school government paperwork. Imagine you're a licensed stylist and you move to a new state. If you have to wait months for your license to transfer, well, that's months of lost income. It's a drag on the professional and the whole economy.
Okay, so the picture seems a bit grim, but it's not all doom and gloom. The good news is, the report also points to some really clear solutions. So let's shift gears and talk about what a better, more supportive system might actually look like.
The ideal, right, is to think of a career path like a smooth flowing pipeline. A student gets in, they get their license without a bunch of headaches, they get a job, and maybe down the line they start their own business and hire other people. It's supposed to be this positive, virtuous cycle.
And this isn't just wishful thinking. There's data to back this up. Research shows that when states cut back on these crazy high-hour requirements, they can literally double the number of people who finish their training and get certified. And the best part? It has zero negative impact on how much they earn or, most importantly, on public safety.
So are there places that are actually doing this well?
Absolutely. The report points to the Louisville Beauty Academy as a great example. They really nail it by focusing on the stuff that actually matters. State rules, sanitation, safety, and on helping their students become entrepreneurs. They teach what's called regulatory literacy, which basically means they're setting these folks up for real long-term success.
All right, now let's talk about what might be the single biggest solution to this entire state-by-state mess. It's all about making it easier for professionals to move.
The idea is called the Cosmetology Licensure Compact. It sounds a little formal, but the concept is super simple. It's an agreement where a bunch of states get together and say, hey, if you have a license from one of our states, you can work in any of our states. One license, multiple states.
Honestly, the best way to think about it is like your driver's license. You get it in one state, but you can drive anywhere in the country, right? This is the same idea, but for your career. And you can imagine how huge this is for people who have to move a lot, like military spouses.
And hey, this isn't just some pie-in-the-sky idea. It's actually happening. As of mid-2025, you've got 10 states that have already signed this into law. So this is a real solution that's gaining steam and has the potential to really cut through all this red tape.
So when you put it all together, what you realize is that a good system isn't about getting rid of all the rules. Not at all. It's about having smart rules. The rules need to be rational, the process needs to be predictable, the standards have to be stable, and super importantly, there needs to be reciprocity. That idea that your license is good in more than one place.
And that really brings us to the final question, doesn't it? The problems are pretty clear, but the solutions are right there in front of us. We know that smarter hours and license mobility work. So the real question is, how many more states are going to get on board and unlock the full potential of this incredible economic engine?